Hi, this is Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I want to show you how to create this cute little turkey. And this is not going to be a treat box, or I guess you could put some treats in here. It's more or less going to be maybe something that you would put on your table as maybe for at a name tag, or maybe it would be given to someone to go on their desk or something. So we're going to create this neat little turkey using as an alternate to the paper pumpkin kit for November. Now here are the projects that you can create with the paper pumpkin kit. And if you open this up, way back here at the back, it has this little alternate project right there. And I don't know if you can see that right there, okay? But I kind of changed this turkey up a little bit. I wanted to do something a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select one of these, kind of like these apple or one of these pieces that is supposed to make the pumpkin. And I'm going to select the wonderful adhesive sheets that come with it. And that is what I'm going to put together for my turkey. I'm then going to need a couple of extra pieces. I'm going to need some white cardstock, because for the eyes, I'm going to use from the Pretty Pill box. We're going to use these rather large pieces here, are going to be die cut. And when we die cut them, I'm just going to show you, we're going to create these little eyes right here that are going to be used for our turkey. So you're going to need this die from the Pretty Pill box. And I'm going to have to move this aside and make sure I put my dies on my little magnetic sheet there. You're also going to need the Time of Giving, these stamps, and the dies which cut out the leaves that we're going to create here as our little sentiment that's going to go in front of our turkey. And the colors that you're going to use on Whisper White are going to be the colors that are featured in the paper pumpkin set. So that's Soft Succulent, Crushed Curry, and Pale Papaya. So you're going to need those colors, and you're going to need the little die to cut out the leaves. So I'm going to put that one right there. And here's my block with my stamp. You're also going to need a piece of black cardstock, and this is about 2.5. This is 2.5 by 5.25. And we're going to score this so that it can stand up. So you're going to need a piece of black cardstock. Our Thanksgiving, and I have a piece here, and this is kind of that metallic brass paper, and I believe I can still put Happy Thanksgiving, which is going to come from our wonderful Word Wishes dies. So we're going to have here, okay, that's happy. So we want Happy Thanksgiving from our Word Wishes dies. So I'm going to put that there. And these dies, I think I have enough room. Yeah, I do have enough room to do the Happy Thanksgiving on this piece right here, which I've cut lots of other things. But this piece is backed with our adhesive sheets. And here are our adhesive sheets that are the multi-purpose adhesive sheets, so that we can very easily just peel these off and put them on our paper. So I'm going to put my happies right here, and then my paper and my cardstock I'm going to put aside right over here. Now we have our I'm going to show you how we're going to cut our eyes, and I have a little pattern here. I'm using to make the eyes is actually a gel pen, which kind of is going to create our little dots. So you're going to need a gel pen, and let's a little extra leaf that I have there. You're going to need a piece of orange or pumpkin pie cardstock, because that's going to create the little beak. And again, I have a little pattern that I've created right there. And I'm going to have some sponge daubers because I'm going to sponge my leaves once I cut them out. Now, the feathers. The feathers come from just a pack. It's a craft pack. And I used these when I created the swan card for a friend of mine. So I'm going to use them for this project just because I thought they would just be so much more prettier to have some feathers. And if you'll notice, these are white and then these are tinted. That's because I took a sprayer, one of our mini spritzers, filled it up with alcohol and put some Poppy Parade in it. And that's going to be the color that I'm going to spray my feathers. I also have this little gold piece, and this gold piece is from the holiday catalog, and it's just a piece of gold holly that I'm kind of using as this little gullet there. And let me just kind of pull in so you can see what his face is going to look like. So there's our die cut eyes, there's his little beak, and then there's our little gold gullet. And then we're going to have one of these are going to stay open because we're going to adhere our feathers to the back. Now here are our feathers. So to get started, when I created this, and I'm just going to put these aside for a minute, because when I created this, I created it with the white feathers, and then I changed my mind and I decided I wanted to color them. So I actually sprayed my ink right on the feathers as they were adhered. But I think I'm going to change it up. So we're going to do something a little bit different. I have a piece of paper towel here. And we're going to pick some feathers out of our pack that we're going to use. And some of these can be snipped. I have a feather. I'm just going to go ahead and it's broken. So I'm going to cut this feather off. And I'm just going to kind of see what I can lay out here. And I want to create kind of a tall feather and then two side feathers. So these are some nice fluffy feathers for the side. So I'm going to lay those out right there. I want a tall feather. See, and some of these aren't the best. I'm going to save this one for kind of the front of my tall. Some of these have to be spread out a little bit. And when you spread them out, they actually come out pretty well. So that could be a tall. It's a little bit too tall. So let's see what else you can find in here. Okay, here's a nice full one right here. And I can put this one, and this one. And then I can have a little one in front. So let me go ahead and very carefully place these other feathers back in my package. And I'm going to spread these out. And all I want to do is I want to take my spritzer and I just kind of want to lightly kind of spritzing I really want to kind of get the ends. It's kind of where I want most of the pigment. Okay. And then I'm just going to kind of lift them up and you can kind of see they're going to have to dry. So I am going to grab a piece of, and I'm just going to kind of blot them because I don't want them to be too wet. Okay, so I'm kind of blotting and I wanted them to begin to kind of open up a little bit. And here's, look at that one. That one looks nice. And they're going to kind of keep that shape. So let me take this one and then this one. And I'm going to throw this piece out now. And there they are. They came out rather well. And again, I kind of want to blot this piece. I don't want this piece to be, I don't want it to be them to be too wet. Just because they've picked up the pigment, so they really don't have to be. So I might have overdone it on this one. Okay, so there are my feathers. So I'm going to put those aside so they can dry. I have my tool here. This tool is fantastic for picking up paper pieces. If you have this putty tool here, see how easy it is to pick up this itty bitty little paper piece? I love it. Just absolutely love it. I didn't know what it was really meant for a while, and then I kind of figured out that it's really good for putty pieces. Okay, so now let's put together, or rather, let's go ahead and let's start doing some die cuttings, because we can die cut the eye and then we can die cut the face. So we're going to grab a piece of Whisper White here, and I'm going to stamp now. The way I cut these out is I used my large Big Shot off here to the side. So I'm going to cut these out. Now I'm going to grab this little piece here and I'm going to cut out one of those. Okay, now I'm going to take my Thanksgiving, I'm going to cut it out of this. Okay, so I have all my pieces die cut. So I'm just going to go ahead and set them aside over here. Now, here are my leaves. And I'm going to set these leaves aside because I'm going to use a sponge dauber. And I have my 3 sponge daubers here. So I'm going to start with Pale Papaya. And I'm just going to go ahead and sponge daub these. Okay, so I'm going to put all my leaves over here and put them aside. My stamp set and my sponge daubers. Now I'm going to bring in this little piece right here. And let me just zoom in for a minute. This little piece is going to be how we're going to do our eyes. You can kind of see that. So I'm going to grab a, this is a glaze pen. I believe it's a gel pen. I'm just going to bring in a little piece of paper. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to do And if I want to make them bigger, I can go back around and kind of extend them, but you do kind of want to start small, okay? You see that? Those are your eyes. And if you think about it, that could be an eye for any kind of critter you may be making, not just this. So now that gel has got to set, so I'm just going to very carefully pick this up with my tool and set this aside so it can dry. Okay. Now, this is my pattern for my little beak. It's got a little dirty. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out because this is my pattern. It's just a triangle. And then I'm just going to put this on a piece of pumpkin pie. Now, let's look at how wide this is. It's about a half an inch. You can see that it's about a half an inch wide. So if it's about a half an inch wide, and if we look at the length, it's about a half an inch long. So, I mean, I can just take my nail and just kind of press that paper right there. And then I can take my scissors and I can go ahead and I can just go ahead and, okay, so it's a little bit more than half an inch, isn't it? Let's see, let me remeasure this. Yeah, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 5/8. So this is 5/8 long, 5/8 long by half an inch. Okay, so then we can just go ahead and take this, and we know where our center is. I think I marked it with my nail. If I can see, there it is. I can see it right there. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to make my beak right there. Okay, so there's my beak. So I have my beak and I have a pair of eyes that are drying right there for my little face. And we're just going to put these little scraps in my little scrap box because you never know when you need them. All right. So now let's go and turn our attention to this piece. This piece was 2 1/4. So I want to do that at 1 1/2. So I'm going to bring in my scoreboard and I am going to score this at 1 1/2. Okay, because this is going to be our base. So now I can take my Happy Thanksgiving. So let me go ahead again. I'm putting all my dies over here. I have this little magnetic sheet. Put my dies on. So I want to put happy, and let me grab my tool again. So I'm just going to kind of pop out some of these middle pieces that I don't need. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull this up. Just go ahead and pull that up off our adhesive sheet. And we're just going to have happy. And then we're going to I'm going to pull up Thanksgiving. Now, I believe pulling that in because, let's see, we're going to pull pull this. There we go. Okay, so it's happy. So we're going to have happy Thanksgiving and just spread that across our black cardstock. And I'm missing the eyes, but the eyes are actually inside my die. So let me punch out my eyes right there. And I should be able to pick them out. There we go. Okay, so there is, I found one sitting over here. So there's Happy Thanksgiving. And now we're going to embellish this. Now, the way we're going to embellish this is we're going to use our phone folder. I'm going to just kind of make sure I get a nice crease there because that's where our little guy is going to sit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our leaves right here. I'm going to grab my tool, a little paper tool, and I'm going to grab some glue dots. So I'm going to take my glue dots and I'm just going to start putting them. I want to put, and what you can also do is kind of lay them out, but you can fold these. You can go ahead and fold them a little so they look a little more leafy, which is what I like to do. I like to fold them, make them look a little bit more leafy. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, let's see, I should have an orange one here. And I can't seem. Now I'm just going to grab this one. And this one doesn't look like it's. I'm going to grab this one. I like this one better. We're going to grab this one. And we're going to put the glue dot kind of at the corner. And that's not going to work. Because I want this leaf to kind of go right there. So I'm going to pull this glue dot right here on the corner of this leaf. So I can put this leaf right here, okay? And then I'm going to bring in so there you go. I've kind of embellished my little sentiment. So I can take these and use them, put them aside for another card, put away my glue dots. I'm going to need my glue dots again. But now I have that. So now let's go back and let's look at our feathers. And our feathers have dried. So let's put our feathers out right here. And yeah, they look dry. Okay, so now let's bring in our box. Let me zoom out. So Paper Pumpkin has these wonderful little strips, and each one of the strips fits an angle over here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead, and I like to use an X-Acto knife, but I'm going to put on this side, I'm going to put the little short strips along these edges right here. And it's going to go like this. We're going to have one here. And you don't even have to measure. They're all measured for you. Just go ahead and just put them along the crease line, and it's very evident where the fold line is. And that one's going to go right there. That one just kind of just came off. Okay. And then I have an edge right here that I'm going to put this long one. And that one's going to go right there. Okay, so there is our adhesive. I have to be careful because it looks like this little adhesive cover came off, so I have exposed adhesive. So now I'm going to fold these. I'm going to fold these around, and then I'm going to grab my the end of my X-Acto, and I'm going to put my little cork there, and I want to kind of bend these like this. Only I'm not going to do the front one. The front one is going to stay straight. Oops, and I just tore that off. So let me do a repair. I'm just going to grab some tape. Get tape. Okay, I have to do a repair, not a big deal. Just grab a piece of tape, right like that. And we're just going to tape that. Okay, not a big deal. Just tape it. We'll just make sure that goes on the bottom. All right. So now what we're going to do is when you cut your cardstock, you had some extra. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut like just a piece of cardstock, because this is going to be our front, and then this is going to go around and it's going to adhere back here like that, and we're going to have actually the this is our front, and I do want that curve just slightly, but I want it more bent. And then this is going to go like this, and this is going to be the back where we're going to put our feathers. Okay, but let's go ahead and let's put our face on. So let's go back over here and let's pick up our pieces, and they've all dried. So what I want to do now, you know, here's my front. This is going to be my face. Is I'm just going to take these pieces and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut them in twos. So I should have twos. And then I should have twos right there. This one's kind of blurry, so I'm going to throw that one out. I'm going to use my tool again. I love my little paper tool here. So now I've picked this up, and those are our eyes. So now I'm going to take my beak, again, using my little paper tool, and I'm going to put my beak is going to go right there. So let me lay this upside down, because we want the beak, and then I'm going to pull in my little gold holly leaves, and we're going to have this coming down. Let me show you. Okay, so I have my eyes are upside down, because what I'm trying to create the beak is going to go on top of this little piece of white, and then I'm going to have this is going to go along the side, right? That's how our little turkey. So I'm going to take a glue dot, I'm going to pick it up and I'm just going to kind of munch it a little bit. And I'm going to put it right there on the top of my beak. And then I'm going to use my tool to pick up my paper. Now I'm going to put my paper right there so that I have my beak and my eyes are kind of staring at me there. Then we're going to turn this around. That's sticking a little bit. And I'm going to get and you can kind of see how this thing, I used a mini dimensional here because I'm going to pop this up. Okay, that's how I kind of create that 3D effect. So let me grab a little mini dimensional right here. And I want to put this, and this has a front side and a back side. So I kind of want to stick that right in the corner where my glue dot is. So you kind of see where I have my little glue dot right there. I've got this. I'm just going to kind of stick that corner of that and kind of bring it out a little bit. Okay, because that's going to be that little turkey flap. Then I'm going to grab a dimensional and I'm going to stick my dimensional right on top of all of this, and that's what's going to lock in our little face. I'm going to take this off. Okay, I'm going to bring in my face, and then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put that right there. And I can move this out a little bit if I need to. I can go ahead and press, and there's our little turkey face. Isn't that cute? Look at that. That is so cute. Now, the placement on this one was a little bit lower, but I like it higher because it's going to be able to show up a little bit more. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this together. So I'm going to grab my tool and I'm just going to go ahead and take off these pieces. Okay, and then I'm going to fold these in. And these have the glue on them. I'm going to fold them in. And I'm going to fold this flap because this goes first. So you want to adhere that kind of carefully right there. And then you're going to okay, adhere that. I'm going to press it. Then these are going to fit the edges of this hexagon shape right here. I'm going to turn it over flat, and then I should have the top of my tool, and I'm just going to go in there and I'm just going to kind of make sure that kind of adheres. I'm going to rub, see, and it's kind of coming apart. So just kind of want to, maybe I want to press my fingers, my nails inside to make sure that this is adhering. Okay. All right. So there's our front. And then here is our little body right there. And then this is the back, which is where our feathers are going to come out. So let's not worry about this yet, because what we want to do is I want to grab a piece of tear tape. And I'm going to grab a piece of tear tape. And I've got this one that's already started here. And I'm going to put a piece of tear tape across the back. So I'm just going to cut, oh, maybe 1.5 inches. But I'm going to place it across the back of my flap. You see how I have it right there? All right, and then I'm going to just pick it up with my tool here. There we go. All right, so my tear tape is right in there. So now I'm going to take, and let me lay out my feathers. Okay, I have a tall feather for the middle, and then I have my two side feathers. Let me just kind of pull out a little bit so you can see that. Okay, so there's my side feathers and my center feather. So my center feather, I want to take that, and I'm just going to take my center feather, and I'm going to lay it right inside on top of that tear tape, right in the center. Okay, like that. This isn't going to totally adhere it, but what it is going to do is it's just going to kind of give it a little bit of ability for you to place the feather. I'm going to put the other feather on the other side, and I'm kind of adhering. These little points are going on the tear tape. Okay, and let's kind of and okay, you can kind of see how it's splayed out. Now this one isn't in there very perfectly, but now what we're going to do is we're going to grab some all-purpose glue, and I'm just going to put a big old, I'm just going to put, I hope you can see this, okay, do you see how I'm putting that serious glue in there? See that? See that serious glue? Because now I'm going to take this little piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to place it right on top of that glue, and I'm going to hold that down. And that is how I'm going to, and you want to push it all the way down there. You don't want to really see it. And that is how you're going to hold your feathers up. And you can still kind of maneuver them. Okay. So while that is drying, all right, then you can come in and you can bend these little curvy ones here. In. I kind of bent them in like that, and then you want to connect. Now this is the one that tore. You just want to kind of be a little ginger with it, and these will kind of open up. And there's kind of the top of your box. And I just want to also just kind of bend that. So there is your pretty turkey with your Poppy Parade feathers, which I think is actually, and if I pull this out a little bit, I think this is actually prettier than that, because I just kind of sprayed it to kind of test it out right here like this. But this one, I just look at that. Isn't that pretty? So now you can take this. Now, if you want to, you can add some glue dots in there. I did here. This is all glue dotted up, but you know, you can do that. I would wait until after your feathers kind of dried in there. You want to make sure you know, you kind of press that in there so that it dries. You want to leave that alone and kind of let that dry, and then you can see how pretty that's going to come out. And you still have time to kind of arrange your feathers a little bit, but I think that's really pretty. Then you've got your little kind of placard that goes in front of your little turkey for Happy Thanksgiving, and you can add a piece of tear tape there, and you can glue it, and it can be a either, you know, something that goes on your table, or just something that can go on somebody's office. Here's another piece. I was going to add that in, but I think it's a little overkill. I think I have enough. I think I have enough in there. I just want to make sure that you kind of see how cute those are. Our happy Thanksgiving turkeys using paper pumpkin for November 2021. We're repurposing the kit and using real feathers. And let me just review. You're going to need mini glue dots. You're going to need, let me just pull out so we can get everything in here. You're going to need the Word Wishes dies. We're using the giving gifts, time of giving gifts dies, the time of giving. I'm using these special little dies from the Pretty Pill Box, and I have used my dimensionals, and of course I'm using the paper pumpkin kit that comes with November. I'm running out of room here to put my stuff so that you can see what we're doing here. So that's the paper pumpkin kit. Let me just kind of to come up with that. And here is what the paper pumpkin kit looks like, but we have repurposed it for these lovely little turkeys. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and this alternate project using our November paper pumpkin. This is Kat Chancellor, Stamp Art Connection, stampartconnection.com. Happy stamping. Thank you so much for joining me, and please press like and subscribe. Have a great day.